crazy, crazed, what is it? Like fire zombie starter or something like that. I think he raises them and then makes them on fire. So basically, it's harder for me to destroy them. And I am going to be coming up with my own topic as well. So it's probably something that I can probably rant or go completely bonkers about.
Then this city is surely the furthest from it.
All right.
Nevertheless, you must venture forth to the Kaiser Friedrich Museum and recover the Sagamata relic.
Alright, gateway to hell. Let's do this.
The Sagamata relic is of crucial importance now. I must return to the museum to retrieve it.
I have a shotgun, but I'm gonna need something. Else, probably. I'm probably gonna need this. Alright, I'm gonna need 2 extra things though. Only have 1 for it, so I'm gonna have to get freaking. Alright, I'm gonna have to use this 1 gun, and then just save it for that 1 guy, because I don't think there's another one there. comedy for one. That was amazing. Let's see here. Let's see, I got, there have been a lot of times where I gonna search for a meaning in life, and I never really got it. Like, I got it that the meaning is you make your own meaning, and I think that, or meaning for my existence, I guess. And back in the day, I was kind of silly, I guess. I don't know what it was. It was really like bodies. That is really weird. There's a zombie on the ceiling. There we go. Pretty cool. My mind's full. I believe that a lot of times I really want it myself. Was it good? Like, for my meaning, I guess. You know, I found a really big meaning when I was 5 years old, and I was able to look into a whole bunch of different stuff and realize that my goal was to hopefully come to some story, I guess, to kind of like pay an ode to, and then I realized my story kind of resembles another person's story, and it's the Spawn character, basically. And kind of like on a road to redemption, not really exactly from like stuff that he actually did, but moreover things that he the misconceptions, I guess. It's a big misconception, though. It's like there have been a lot of misconceptions in like the history books and different things like that that I would clear up at some point. I mean, holy shit, there's a lot of them. Yeah. There we go. Awesome. There we go. There have been a lot of times where a lot of times, oh shit. There have been a lot of times where I talked about my meaning, or about the meaning of my story, or what I wanted from my story. Was a basic kindness, I guess. A basic meaning of life. Basically realizing the character himself goes through a bunch of different kinds of things, like realizing like sometimes like you have to let it go, like, and also in some cases things aren't better off to be known. In some cases, like there's just cases in life that it's like you don't really know what to do in a certain case. You don't really know how to do anything about it. It's like it's just something that you experience and something that you can't like exactly put your finger on. And basically, the character goes through a lot of different transitions, I guess, and at sea, I mean, I wanted to, but as he goes through the suit, and he gets basically essence, or his entire body in combat gets sucked into, or basically his is basically soul. I don't want to say soul, but it's kind of like a vessel thing. So it's like, you know, whatever. It's energy, his energy, basically, his energy source, basically, in his body. It gets so I'll pick up an MP44. Get rid of that bazooks. And alright, there we go. Got 2 mines, Stalingrad 2. I want to get 4, but it's probably not near here. Yeah, there it is. 2, 2, 2, 2. Awesome, okay. There have been a lot of times where, in this story, he finds people on his journey. He's in the suit, this is really great. Alright, dang it. So a lot of times whenever I search for that meaning for my character, and my own search as well, for meaningfulness in my own life, because I realize that there is a reason to like calm you down. It's like it's a reason for it. Like that's the reason why all the religions in the world, they constantly search for meaning and certain purpose or whatever things that they look for patterns and stuff like that, and call cats evil and snakes retarded or something like that. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But
if the Führer is still in possession of the other relic pieces, then perhaps we still have a chance to reverse this nightmare.
There were a lot of times when I, okay, the Bauerjacke or whatever is probably better off than the other one, and I'll put that some more later on. Should have got some dynamite for getting that too bad. Alright, I'm gonna take some of these out of this with some dynamite. So I'm moving fast. There's a bunch of them coming, so what I'm going to do is throw, as soon as I get them all up, I'm going to throw a dynamite, not a dynamite. There's a bunch of them getting up now. But yeah, as my character evolves, or as my character goes through the misconceptions that you believe, it's basically the kind of thing you learn, I guess, in military and different things like that, to not question a lot of different things that are going on. And it's every military. Every military does this. Every military says you need to follow orders and do the things you need to do because there's people out there that are watching your back, and the whole thing about it is like, yeah, that's true. Then that's very true. But in some cases, there are people out there that aren't watching your back. And it's like in the civilian presentation, civilian times, people can lose sight of what they see, I guess, or how to treat each other. You know, just maybe if it was all the same, then Aw, dang it. This way. There we go. Okay, my little fucker. I should walk all over that shit. It's annoying. And I can't walk all over it. It's just. Alright, I gotta get rid of this rifleman first. And yeah, I gotta run right here and take care of this. It's like our own AI system stops them from going into like next levels. What bastards. Okay, so now this is what I'm gonna do since there's gonna be like 30 or 40 of them that I just walk through. Didn't even get. Alright, let's walk through. 32. Alright, I'm gonna run back and get this grenade. Okay. Let's see here. I'm gonna see if I can take this dude out the cave. my character, he goes through a bunch of transitions while he meets these people, and that's kind of what I wanted to see. Not only just the transition and the way that he changes, but what happens as a result. So, not in like, in every kind of case, I guess, I've seen so far. And this is like Infinity War, no matter what they did, basically, things got fucked up. But this man basically loses it. The character basically loses his actual life. Like he gets sucked and transported into this abyss of a suit, and he gets basically like he's basically like he kind of travels around like the suit itself is alive, kind of. It is like an ancient being from a long time ago that is like incomplete as to be complete with another, and a lot of times people don't really realize the consistency of what I think I'm trying to get at here. It's like love, stuff like that. It's kind of basically the essence of what people would call love, or a thing that people would call it if it weren't times where in this character's story, or where this character comes from, he hold on. Okay, I'm at where my character goes is basically all over the world, and he's ex-military. He used to be a military archaeological surveyor, and basically he takes the depth of field on any sort of thing, and realizes the things that need to happen, the stuff that you're able to use with everything, and are the tools basically manageable, and a whole bunch of different things basically that go into making an archaeological dig, and a military archaeological dig as well. And this basically this is an America, kind of. I wanted to separate it in its own planet, or its own basic universe, I guess. But it's not exactly rough draft. I've been thinking about this since I was about 13. So I mean, so basically this museum is run by this dude who basically founded it and made all this stuff that basically pretty accurate. It's awesome. So he made all this, didn't make all of it. He discovered all of these archaeological digs and found all of this stuff because of things that he actually did, things he prepared for, and a whole bunch of different stuff that he actually got. And I think I'm going to make him a little bit Native American, and maybe like, I don't know what his race is actually going to be, though, if I ever turn into a comic book series, or when I ever turn into a movie. His hair's not just going to be brown, though, because I know that it's kind of like the, It might be brown, but who knows? It might be like have like a streak or something like that, or something like that. That could do awesome stuff. So or like it could be like blonde-esque or something like that. And I've noticed that a lot of times in a bunch of people's works, their love story seems to be like based on the huge love scene, I guess, and stuff like that. So I'm kind of like taking it back, and there's gonna be a shit ton of violence in it, but there's not gonna be any like sex or anything like that, because basically what happens is his girlfriend, the girl that he falls in love with while he's in the suit, she dies, and it sucks, but it's gonna be, it's not a what's the word, it's not what's the word, a surprise at a neat thing. It's more gonna be like an epic, kind of. That's basically where I'm kind of dealing with this whole situation. Kind of after that there's another dude who's basically one of the other main characters whose story is told basically at the same time as his, and or maybe at the same time. God damn it, this is stupid. Oh, awesome. Okay, cool.
If only we had known the true nature of the Saga Martyr relic.
Whose story is basically told at the same time as his. I don't want like a reverse back or something like that, because I'm not like a Quentin Tarantino fan that much anymore. It has nothing just to do with his artwork or his film. It doesn't have to do just with his the fact that he's insensitive and a prick. But I think a lot of times I've seen a lot of the movies that he's watched in the 70s and the 60s and stuff like that. There have been different time stamps to like a whole bunch of different stuff that I've seen, and I don't really think it's that revolutionary. Like, I think that there's different stories. There have been different stories that have been told exactly the same way, and I think in some ways that some people in Hollywood and a bunch of different people who are hacks basically, will basically just take off different parts of different movies and put it in their movie to basically give themselves more credit when they're doing the next movie. And I don't really want to do that for my first venture, I guess, as far as a comic book, or even just a work of movie or art or anything like that. What happens is basically the way he gets sucked into this suit is kind of weird, because there's no, it's like the fourth horseman. Okay, it's like basically the apocalypse, but it's like management. The universe's management basically did this or does this every so often, and changes some sort of social norm or teaches some sort of lesson, and then just destroys everything, basically. And this power source, basically, people are kind of running and gunning for it because of its power, and it can basically change minds and a whole bunch of different things. Some people are after its spiritual abilities. Some people are after the fact that it's just a relic and they want it in a collection. Some people are after it because they really want to stop it from happening. Some people are after it because they want it to happen. But they have to notice and they have to understand that that within this relic's kind of means of access, you can pretty much do anything with it. So it's not actually used just for destroying stuff. It's like you can figure out a way to use it to be able to benefit and what's the word? I am not needing that. There we go. Yay. So basically, it's never specified what people use it for and how they use it. People have just been known for it to be an amplifier, and it's not exactly like the Infinity Gauntlet, nor by like any Infinity Stone. It's more like an ethereal or it doesn't really kill anything. Really. It's like it's like a million voices full of suggestion and a billion colors to be able to daze the person into suggestion. And it's like its powers can be basically move. You can move like objects with it. There's other artifacts throughout the entire museum that are actually secretly that he's using. Like basically, okay, over the time that he amassed all the money that he's made, he basically makes this museum. He makes this museum and then decides to use it to basically become an influencer of people and things and basically build a oh, you're a bitch. Little piece of shit. God dang it, man. You blocked him with a crowbar? Alright, he's dead now. So a lot of times, through this whole venture with this museum, he basically builds this entire museum from almost scratch. He buys a piece of local land in the city, and he builds it basically from everything that he's ever learned, how to build things, scaffolding, stuff like that. The stuff that he studied, basically taking architecture ideas from a bunch of different kinds of sources from all over the world, and basically makes this respectable and amazing museum building. And he realizes that he's got, or he doesn't realize the thing at the time, but he's basically making something that people will one day take over, and he can like give it to a committee or something like that. So what happens is this committee is kind of evil. They're kind of fucked up, and they use and realize, and also realize along with the dude who's getting all these items and finding all these artifacts, that this is after he gets out of the military as well. Like, he's a retired veteran, and he's like 35, 36, he did like 20 years, or wait a second, he was like 18 to say 35. Yeah, he's about 34, 35, or something like that. I'd say 20 years. Yeah, he did about 20 years in the army, and then he realized that he could do a bunch of different good doing something in the private sector, and that's where he basically made his career. And but unbeknownst to him, there is a kind of this evil council of people who are basically running his stuff, and basically not running into the ground, but kind of wanting to use these things after they find out that these things are usable. And he specifically states, after he finds out that they know that you can't use these things for a specific purpose, because they always have repercussions. And it's not because of something, it's just like you'll notice that something is missing from your life because of this thing. It attaches itself to you basically and uses you as its host in some ways, because it is not just the magic that actually is. It's like all of these artifacts that are used were once cursed, or once there's a part of your life that you're kind of out of bounds with. It's kind of like the Aztec gold from Pirates of the Caribbean. It's like a part of your life gets taken from you, or a part of your personality gets jettisoned out of your body, basically, because of these things taking over and basically formating this power that you're able to use at any will or any given time. It's like that's basically the whole result of it. Like you become, if you use almost all the artifacts at some point, you become not a husk, but you just become emotionless, and you're able to use the magic more, and it's actually beneficial sometimes, because you're able to use the magic or the entrusted items that are there a lot better, and without any reservations and hesitation, to be able to save lives and also take lives, basically without hesitation. Most of the time, okay, here we go. yeah, that's basically what happens. Is this whole situation basically gets out of control. He basically is and this orb basically just shows up in this dude's possession that he finds after he gets thrown out into the company. He's just sitting at a bonfire, and he described the scene. And he's muted. He looks kind of like Jesus a little bit. And I kind of want to say that. I guess is I want him to look as much like Jesus as possible. Because I kind of, if Jesus at all existed, he wasn't just a what's the word? He isn't just a prophet or anything like that, but not just was he a prophet at all, but he was a catalyst to change in a government system that wasn't working and was actually murdering people left and right, basically. So, and Roman Catholic, all those other different ones, a whole bunch of different eras of like discourse and hate because of people who looked like different mythical creatures from a bunch of different eons ago, or basically that's basically what it was to me. It's like that's basically what people don't understand is like it has a lot to do with the food that we eat, the reason why we look the way that we do. It's like, and also it has a lot to do with I want to say the mind, but I don't want to, because I know that a lot of times it can be used over hormones and different things that like people actually so basically all these creatures are basically known about through this guy who basically looks like Jesus and has this orb that no one else has, but he doesn't do anything with it because he wants there to be the best possible future for everyone and everything. And he realizes that this dude, through military service and a bunch of different other things, and the fact that he's basically well-hearted and good-shouldered and level-headed, he's basically able to use this orb any way he chooses. And what happens is they freeze all of his accounts, because what happens is the council basically deems him either unfit mentally or in a certain way, or basically just shut him out of his own company through different loopholes and different things like that, through companies and museums, that it shouldn't be owned by one person but a council, and basically just shut him out, and he can't own anything, but he does specifically have shares in every single item that's there still. So he's still allowed in sometimes, but they're just doing things to force him out constantly. So they're basically telling him that he's too old or he's too done with things. He's gonna be up 35, 36. So it's like he's on the back end of his career, basically. The back end of his he would be on the back end of his military career, but he's like a millionaire. So, but his accounts get frozen because of I think there's an issue. That'll be a good point to start at. Is there's an issue with one of his dealers. Okay, one of his dealers gets caught for smuggling. So when he gets caught for smuggling, he basically tries to make money through the council, and they pay him to be able to get away from the charges if he points and fingers someone else who's higher up. And he fingers that dude and basically tells everyone that he fucked up and did terrible things, and like forced people to die. And people had died on like their excursions at some point, but only through military and in some cases non-military functions. So like it was like stuff that didn't happen. Like it didn't have to happen. Like there was like this huge magical creature or something like that would jump out and like basically, yeah, it's like basically endangering the public kind of thing. And what happens is through, I think, a bunch of different loopholes, he gets shut out of his company and his assets get frozen. What happens is as soon as this dude comes with his orb, as he's walking down this kind of road, kind of like, and I want it to be like either a barrel fire or he's just sitting there basically with robes and stuff like that. And they don't look dirty or anything like that. He's not like homeless or anything like that. Like, I'm not to say that it wouldn't be cool if he was still homeless, But I kind of, if that will be a thing, I want him to still have a scraggly beard though. Like, that is awesome. But through this whole process of what he does, he looks like Jesus, and he gives him this orb. Okay, this orb that he doesn't use, this orb that he never used, because he wants someone to create the best future with it. So he does that. He gives them the orb, and he says, "What about my accounts? When will I get paid for this?" And he says, "Look at your phone right now." And he goes, and he looks at his phone and he looks at his account balance, puts his password in, and literally he has 3 times to 4 times as much money as he ever had in his bank account at any point. So it's like $300 billion basically is in his account right now, or $3 trillion or something like that. So yeah, so it's pretty cool. And what or 100 times, I guess, how much money he usually has. So that's what happens, and he's just like, oh my god, I got to do this. So basically he's entailed with a note, and he's supposed to get into his own museum on public hours. And public hours is when there are tours going on, and the people are being able to see through, or seen through, or there's like peculiar things happening all over the museum, basically. And it's kind of like the Night at the Museum thing, but I made it beforehand. And there's weird like essences of things that people see, like stuff that you wouldn't normally see, but not like orby kind of stuff, because there's stuff you can like stink out as dust, but like stuff that like just like an aura or something like that somebody envisions or something like that. Like kids or old people basically are kind of like, as far as the magical realm is concerned, are kind of sensitive or clairvoyant, I guess, with that stuff. But through that he does the thing. He basically, as it tells him to put the orb in front of the statue of the 3 out of the 4 horsemen. And basically he puts this thing down, this orb down in front of it, and then what happens next is basically the craziest thing that happens, and it winds up basically, this orb basically shoots out this cloth that is emanating this color, I think, and it's just like energy incarnate, but it's a cloth somehow. And it just circles the orb, and the orb gets more intense with color and changes like different fashions, but it's paint almost, but it's like color, like that's kind of what I wanted for it, and it looks really cool in my head basically as I draw it sometimes. And the monster or the person is basically this kind of like I wanted it to be like a prison almost, like the person incarnate or the thing incarnate basically. But as he puts it down, a child steps up because he kind of is interested in it, and he wants to know what it is, basically. And he's like, wow, this looks really amazing. So what happens is he tells them on the note, he said, as soon as you put it down, make sure no one's there, or it will explode. Like, it will explode with color and energy, and eventually, like, and that's all, because he can't like know what it is, because he has to walk off and make sure that no one else goes near it, kind of. So he made sure that no one else goes near it. But what happens is basically the kid that's interested in it gets pushed out to the entrance of the room, and it basically like I don't want to say explodes, but it did say explodes, but it basically encompasses the entire room in a second, pushing him back and like literally cracking his skull and his body up against this wall that basically is like, it's basically pretty fucking hard for him. And then what happens is this suit comes after all the 3 horsemen have come alive and basically go running off into the city, kind of about to go to different parts of the world or something like that. And then eventually they all fly and all the other different stuff. I kind of want to incorporate that stuff in there. But what happens is the base of the 3 horsemen statues basically come together as one, and then as that happens, as the suit basically just malformations comes out. I want it to be kind of like a portal almost, but it's a cloth. So like it comes together, and it just kind of forms together, and It makes this suit, basically. It's that white, like, bright white eyes, and it's just coming over towards him, and he's battered and bruised and beaten up and pretty much broken. So it just takes over his hand, and you kind of see like a slip open up in the cloth that he's basically, because it's like an energy, basically just like puts his hand over him and just this, and then sucks up every single ounce of his essence into the suit. And then what happens is he wakes up in a battered room, and basically this orb ceases to exist because it kind of malforms in different areas, I guess. It's kind of like the orbs in Dragon Ball Z, I guess. And that's basically kind of the way I wanted to make it. It kind of protects itself from different people that they know that will use it for like ill-willed purposes without just cause, I guess. So basically that's what happens, and he gets sucked into this suit, and he wakes up, and these two guards basically come to him, and they're about to shoot him. He unwittingly, basically swings his finger and puts it behind the trigger on the gun, pulls the dude's hand down, and then knees him in the face, and then basically this dude is just knocked out, like completely knocked out. But he doesn't know how he did it, and he doesn't know where he is, basically, because he still thinks that he's still himself, and he's still figuring out a whole bunch of different stuff, and still doing things like reflex by like Spawn, basically, and realizing his powers and the things that he can do, and basically like whatever the cloth was made of his cape, of the Spawn's cape, is basically like and I don't want to say that it's like that, because it's not, because it's different, because he can still he basically juts out energy, and like there's holes in his back and his mouth and his hands, and those holes basically he basically not sucks in energy, but he has energy to be able to dispel, and it's like the holes aren't really holes, they're more like indentations, and like it's like a belly button or something like that. And almost the same consistency of that, but basically it's like the suit encompasses energy, and it can ascertain, and basically it's like the orb is the suit almost, but it's not, kind of, because the orb will be named later again, and somehow someone gets a hold of it. And I want the absolute everything, like aliens, zombies, there's vampires, werewolves, friggin' mythical creatures, and a whole bunch of different stuff. They want this orb to be able to use it for a whole bunch of different stuff, either good or bad, but somehow justified in some way. And there's a whole bunch of different things. I wanted to make these thing called the Talls. They're actually an amalgamation or a collection of souls of dead animals, and what they do is they basically change shape and change form constantly, and through that kind of thing, they know how to use the orb to be able to create and do a whole bunch of different stuff, but they just don't know how to take credit for it, basically, to be able to use it and to make it profitable. And they're basically just like, it's like they have a personality, but they're like, it's just a really cool character, I think. And there's the Titans as well that use it every once in a while to destroy cities that they think are basically forming to create like evil stuff, or evil people that are just like trying to force their will on someone else or anything like that. Like they don't care about the things like the people expressing themselves, the violence, the hatred. They don't care about that. They just think that if you were to mold society or mold their society sometimes, because this is what they use it for as well. They use it to like build stuff and a whole bunch of different things. Like, so basically what happens is this energy, the suit expels energy, and when it expels energy, you're able to use that energy to do whatever you want with it. So basically, like, as the suit is used, the orb loses power, but still protects itself into another area or part of the world. And as And as he's going through all these things, he meets Victor Pelgrim, or not, I think it's, I don't want it to be Victor, or this dude named Guy. He basically injected himself with this nanobot technology that turns his entire skeletal system and bionic skin and everything into bionic metal, basically. It's not Colossus. I'm trying to make it as little like Colossus as possible. It's not like those characters that have rights to them. I'm trying to make it to where he takes a route with it, because it basically forms to your mind. If you have pain or suffering or anything like that, you'll become anything but human, basically. And in that shell, you will create basically what's it called? I want it to be kind of like, he's got this mask on, kind of, but it kind of looks like a Juggernaut head a little bit, but I want it to be like bright red, and he's got these the collarbones that come up right in front of it, and it's kind of like a helmet, basically. But that's the most that it comes to Juggernaut. But he's basically like 1,000 times more potent than the Juggernaut. He can take out entire armies, basically. And he's been used as an experiment ever since they killed his parent. This government private security place killed his parent, killed his family, basically his daughter and his wife, and they killed him in an accident. And he had everything to live for then. And then somebody used the experiment to be able to use it on human subjects, because they wanted to hurry up experimentation. And when they hurried up experimentation, they wanted to use it on the person that made it, because they thought that he was lying about everything that it could do, or everything that it did do, even though they had seen evidence of it and they didn't know it was proven or not. So basically they made him inject himself with whatever it was by suggestion and different things like that, because they're evil private security company. Crazy private security company that does terrible things to people. And I'm not insinuating that any private security companies are doing bad things overseas, but I'm saying that there are, within the rights of some people, liberties that people take, or security companies in certain places that are sometimes shadow companies that don't even have the existence, basically, that do a whole bunch of different stuff overseas, and basically make it to where it's blamed on certain countries and things like that to basically play this whole checkmate game and stuff like that, because they're stupid. And I want to kind of just shed a light on that. But also I wanted to realize the origin of these things, and the origin of all of these items is because I wanted to create I'm gonna kill some zombies. A basic structure of plot line for this thing, and I wanted it to kind of be like a traveling, kind of like what people would call gypsies, I guess, or traveling salesmen or something like that. Basically, just a select few, basically, I'd say 100 of them, basically, who made these items, who are kind of like alchemists, and they are, and the idea of an alchemist isn't like copyrightable, so I can make them immortal, and they can do whatever they want to do, basically. And they made these items basically as a result of an explosion of some sort, and they wanted to remember the history that was there constantly all the time. So they made all these, like, I'd say 3,000 to 4,000 items that either have been found or not found, and there's like a whole bunch of different other stuff that I want to put into it too. Alright, I just shot that gun because it's really cool. 67 Luger. For Carnadiano. But yeah, that's basically the whole story in a nutshell, kind of, so far, for me. And there's going to be this huge conclusion where there's a whole bunch of different people that fight in certain areas, basically. And it's kind of like Street Fighter a little bit, to me, that I've always loved the way that Street Fighter was always held. And, like, people who are, like, different leaders of different things, they fucking fight each other for the effort to, for the essence of using these items and a whole bunch of different things like that. And and I think that's kind of cool because there's been like a lot of different like UFC fights and a whole bunch of different other stuff like that, and I kind of wanted to like realize that like it's kind of meaningless, but it's not really that meaningless. Basically, it's like that's kind of what I wanted to do. Like I wanted to be able to make sure that I could create this story, and as he goes through all these trials and different tribulations and troubles and things like that, he has to realize that even through manipulation of other people, he has to remain uncircumvented, basically, just like you can tell a person to be that way, but you'll never change what is inside. You know, like you can tell a person that they need to follow orders, but you can never be that order. You know, you can never be that order and know how they're going to take it, or how they're going to see it, or how they're going to implement it, or how they're going to apply it, or at all. And it's like the whole respite and it's the system of thought and the way that people actually take thought, or even the concept of thinking, and it kind of sits with me sometimes, and it's a really, really good story, and I think that it's going to make a whole bunch of money. And hopefully, like, I'll be able to start charging it or something cool. But I want it to be a collectible, so that'll be really cool to me. But, got it. Straight through the nose. Or right above the nose. And mine's full. Stalingrad's full. Stalingrad full. So yeah, that's basically my story, kind of. And I'm going to be working on it for a really long time, and probably going to come out with it when I'm 40. So, watch out for it. It's called, or it's a working title, but for right now, it's called, Vessel, the Hollow Fourth. And it's not only, I really wanted to have darker colors, so I'm going to find some more paints and get better stuff, because I want to be able to create it myself at some point, and create the dialogue as well at some point, and get people to what's the word, bitch, how did you do that? Alright, so that's basically my whole storyline, and or not the whole storyline that I have so far. And it's going to incorporate a whole bunch of different titans, and him meeting his girlfriend in the afterlife, or not really the afterlife, but through dimensions, and as souls, or whatever you want to call it, energy passes and goes, people can find the things that they once lost, and realize that everything itself is without plan, but I guess but it's always on purpose. You know, it's like. Yeah, it's without plan, but always on purpose. religion, not a thing you believe in, not a thing that can be believed in. It doesn't want belief, nor does it want things. It wants ideas and fruitful repairs, and it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like something that I think is that kind of envelops the entire structure of electronics, and it's kind of cool in its design, I guess. Like that's what sits, and that's with me, with the story, and sits if you guys with him talk about it, and I should have, but yeah, that's basically where my story winds up, I guess. And there's so many different parts. I don't think knowing something in the story makes it bad, unless you were grabbing for that emotion, and then that somehow that emotion lets through on it, and somehow that emotion lets through, and you find that how's it going, viewer? I'm talking about my my book series, and I think that a lot of the dude that I just talked about, his position and his demeanor has a lot to do with the way that I see the world sometimes. So or in like the universe, or anything that ever moves or does anything. And I think that's basically what I've done with my belief system, is turn it into a comic book and make people read it for money. That'd be really cool. And I don't know, it's kind of a joke, because it's just, I don't know, it's just everything that is, I guess. And realizing everything that is everything, basically. And it shouldn't be, it could be messed with, but it just doesn't have to be all the time, so. Not to say anything about our society, but I don't believe in society. It's a lie. It's always a lie, because somebody always makes it a lie. It's annoying, it's stupid, it's dumb. Yeah, basically I see a lot of stuff all the time, and I notice a lot of things that people notice, and oh shit. Basically, yeah, just life that exists. And really does want to exist, so that's what I basically come up with. All that other different stuff, and all these things and more. That's what Christmas means to me, my love. I think I have $60 left instead of 70. Right there. Oh well. Still gonna get cheese and cigarettes. But yeah, basically, I really do like coming up with those ideas and keeping with them, because I can let it go as much as I want to, but I mean, then it wouldn't be as cool. So realization of the coolest things ever to know and to be a part of. You know, just awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Basically, a lot of stuff that I think about is that stuff on board. Sometimes I think that most of the stuff I go through is kind of stupid, but I think that once you do that live and notice it and realize how this doubts about it, it just really brings me to it. One of the coolest things in my life. I really do like myself, and I like myself a lot. This thing about me, just realize that I noticed that I control them and do things sometimes. You good? Is there 3 of them? Is there 3 of them? I'm not hearing anything. It's my ears ringing. There's no big fire things. Okay. Alright. Oh shit. Alright. It's funny. A stupid man that comes up with amazing ideas, I guess. Final trial. Complete the final trial. Trial. Amazing. I did it. Oh, amazing. I did it. I completed a thing. It's with the brother. Oh, it's like the friggin', what is that? The friggin', the Fifth Element. Lilu Dallas. Lilu Dallas. Multipass.
I have it! Now I must unite it with the others in the Führer bunker. I hope I...
Ariel's not a mermaid. That's not true. She is a mermaid. She's beautiful. Oh, her name is Ariel. Okay, Georgia 180. Receive hundreds of followers. Oh, good. Alright, be yourself, and, it is 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna stop this whole deal, and, I'm gonna exit this game. Have a good day, and you are your own one-person bomb squad. You can defuse situations, and then sometimes if you share the things that you really have in your heart, sometimes people will be able to make things like them. And there are so many different other situations that can be. And if you're gaining, I guess, for some sort of thing that's like, if you're running and gunning for some sort of money that you think is going to stay with you when you go, just realize it won't. You know, and don't be quick to make money all the time. Like, you don't have to be. I mean, you can. It comes to those people who are good enough, and in some ways, it doesn't. But most people just need to wait and be patient, and realize that every religion has used patience as a symbol of whatever they're looking for, and that's something they're just trying, I guess, to see you through or see you to a different area, just or see people through, but like through their problems and their misjudgments and their misquotations or something. Just realize that is the truth, and whatever kind of rules or justifications they have for it, it's just because they believe that without something to believe in, then it's dismal and stupid. Or that's what they believe. And I practice their right to I mean, I respect their right to be able to have their belief. And one day they won't think like that, though. And when they realize if they've done harm, or if they've ever done harm, they'll realize that that's just that. It's harm. It's the way that they felt like being, and if they really go to another world or do something on another plane of existence, that's for the universe to solve, in my opinion. Have a good day. And also, my story is really cool. All right. Bye. Have a good day. Be yourself.